Welcome back to Photography for the Rest of Us, a place for people who just love the art of photography. I am Carrie, and this is week 3, day 1 of our Learn Photo Challenge. You guys did it! I am so impressed. Week 2 was amazing. You guys pushed those limits of creativity. You pushed into new techniques, and I am so impressed and so proud of you for doing all of the work, because I'm gonna admit that it just gets harder. So I just want to stop for a second and say, like, the way that I structured this challenge is so that you guys could build on those skills as we worked into harder concepts. But I wasn't trying to make anything too crazy, and I'm trying really hard to make sure that everything is accessible to everybody, even if you don't have super special gear or whatever, right? So that is the goal, and with that in mind, week 3 is all about lighting, all right? So we are going to be talking light and working with light and seeing light, and it's not just about having lights. Having a strobe or having a flash is not what light is about in photography, okay? For some people, if you work completely in a studio, maybe it is. But even then, you have to be able to see the light in order to understand that. So for today, day 1, we are working with seeing light, okay? And with that, the prompt is black and white. So why black and white, you ask? Carrie, why would we do black and white in order to see light and talk about light? I can click any picture and make it black and white and poof, the challenge. Well, let me tell you right now, you're gonna know who's watched the video and gotten the rest of the information and who hasn't, because that's what I'm gonna talk about right now, all right? So yes, hypothetically, any photo could be black and white, right? You could just click the button on your post-processing and poof. But that is not what this is about. I'm throwing down a challenge for you guys, okay? So what I really want you to do is be able to see light. I want you to understand what you're looking at when light is working around in the world and then being captured by your camera. And I think that one of the easiest ways to really start to see light is by working in black and white. So what I want you to do, and I would say that 99% of your cameras have this, so don't pretend to me that you can't do this. What I want you to do is go into your menu settings, and I want you to change your shooting mode to monochrome. So that means that when you push your button on your camera, the photos should be in black and white. Now, on your SD card, they are recorded in color. It's just that your screen, what you're seeing in the back of your camera, is going to be in black and white. And I challenge you to shoot like that for at least 24 hours. I get it if you don't decide to use that for the next challenge for tomorrow or whatever, but take some time and shoot in monochrome, because that really gives you an opportunity to actually see the light. And the reason for that is because light is all about contrast, right? And really beautiful, striking, amazing black and white images have good contrast. So I have some examples, because you know that's how I roll. I took this photo of my daughter for a different video a couple months ago when she had a broken arm, all right? And this is fine. The point was not black and white. The point was not contrast. The point was to get that nice bokeh in the background. But I want to show you guys this because this is a really good example. So here is this lovely picture of my daughter that is just fine for its purposes, taken at that time. And here is that photo in black and white. It looks fine, right? It's fine. There's nothing wrong with this picture. But it doesn't really pop, right? It doesn't have that dynamic wow factor that black and white is what you really want to see in black and white. So in contrast to that, I just took this photo of my lovely husband about 10 minutes ago. He's cute, huh? So this is my lovely husband, all right? And here is his photo in black and white. You see how he pops out, and in black and white, you go, oh. So let's put those two photos side by side, and you see the difference. And the difference here is contrast. And I'm not saying contrast in post, though, if you already see it, you can bump it a little bit. But let's try a different picture of my husband in black and white from this morning. This one has a little more shadow on his face. And do you see how it tells more of a story, how there's more dynamicness to this photo This is more of a artistic portrait, right? Versus the first one, this is just a headshot for his modeling career that he doesn't have, but he totally could. I don't know, maybe now he's getting kind of old, but back in the day, don't tell him I told you that. But this photo, right, this is more of a dynamic portrait, right, with some contrast and interest. And what creates that interest? Let's put those photos side by side, right? It is the way that the light plays across his face. Okay, so now I'm gonna mix things all up for you guys. How did I take this photo, right? Like, you guys are like, oh, well, you probably have like studio equipment and stuff, and I do, I totally do. I have a nice little studio setup. I have a couple of strobes that I love. I actually have quite a few strobes, but I have two that I use most of the time that are from a very high-end company, but I specifically did not use them in a normal way so that I could show you guys this. And this is my behind-the-scenes photo of my setup that I just took. Here is my lovely husband. And then if you look here, so what I did is I set up a fake window, all right? So you guys can totally do the similar kind of photo in a window. So I have a white piece of fabric that's called a scrim. I'll actually show you here. Okay, so white piece of semi-transparent fabric. This is actually like scrim fabric. Oh, it ripped. See, I use it all the time. Scrim fabric. It's basically a cheap sheet, like, or a cheap curtain, because it's semi-transparent. Light can go through it. You guys can see the lights behind me on it. But what it does is help diffuse the light, okay? And then what I have my strobe, because I don't have a window in my studio, what I have my strobe shooting into is a bigger version of this. These are two pieces of poster board that I have taped together to make a V. And what you do is you put the light here and you bounce the light into the V. The light bounces around in this cool white container for it and then comes out the scrim so it's nice and diffused. So that's a really easy way to create like a fake window kind of a look. And you can do it with a speed light. I just use my strobe. Or you could use an actual window with a white curtain over the top. Like I said, my studio in the basement, don't have a window. But the difference between, let's go back to the side-by-side photos here. The difference between these two photos, the shadow, is just the way I move my subject. Because part of what you need to understand with light and when you're seeing light is that light interacts with your subject. It does not matter where your camera is. So I can move all around the room, and if he doesn't move and the light doesn't move, then the light in relation to him doesn't change. So I can shoot from a more shadowy side of his face versus a more well-lit side of his face and get a different look, but the light didn't actually change on his face until he moves. So all I did on these were I had a few where he turned his face a little more towards the light, and then I also moved on that side, and then I had one where he turned his face just slightly away from the light, and I also moved, right? So does that make sense? Okay, so this is my example of contrast and why contrast is important, but let me show you guys some photos, like out and about photos that I've taken that really talk about light in relation to black and white. So I feel like I've rambled a little bit, so I'm gonna kind of tie it all back in, okay? So what I want you to do for this challenge, okay, is shoot in monochrome, because I want you to be looking for sources of light. This is not just a black and white challenge. This is a looking for light challenge. I want you to photograph light in black and white. Does that make sense? So I want you to photograph basically the interplay of light with whatever your subject is. This is where, if you didn't watch the video, you're totally gonna be able to tell when people post their pictures, right? So you are photographing light in black and white. Does that make sense? I am totally open for questions, as always. Please, if you guys haven't already, make sure that you subscribe. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, I get to do a community thing, and then I can post notifications and information and spreadsheets and all sorts of stuff for you guys. So I'm really excited about that. I am nowhere near the idea of getting paid for YouTube. That's not even on the radar. So I just do this for free and for fun. But have your friends subscribe. Anyway, as you guys know at this point, or if you're new to the challenge, let me remind you, please share your black and white images of light, right? That's the trick. Your black and white images of light to Learn Photo Challenge and hashtag photos for the rest of us on Instagram, or in our Learn Facebook group under the week 3 day 1 thread. The link for the Facebook group is below in my description. And yeah, are you guys having fun with this? Like, leave it in the chat below. Let me know if you're having a good time. But I really want you guys to like understand what you're seeing in light as we move forward. We're going to talk a little bit about off-camera flash as well, but like, I don't want to get too far into it without you guys understanding like how light works. And the first step to understanding how light works is to be able to see it. So I don't care if you are photographing from in your house in lockdown, because I know a lot of you are in that situation. I know you have window light. I know that you have a front porch that you can photograph. You can photograph out your window. You can open your door, not go outside and take pictures out your front door. But thinking about photographing light in monochrome on your camera, please post the photos in black and white, and I will see you tomorrow.